Hello there, welcome back to Minecraft. As you can see, I am back in my house. The raid on the Tritons went well, although I only took out 2 of the towers thanks to the fact that my armor were basically, well, smacked to shit. Currently I'm wearing some Tormian armor that I raided. Now, basically the plan for today is to go over what I gained from those 2 towers. We're going to set up an ore processing time tree system, and for that I'm going to require a electrolytic separator and an air tank. We're also going to make myself a new, tool, the atomic disassembler, which will require an energy cube so we can actually charge the damn thing. It's basically an electronic pickaxe that's fairly effective, can be used as shovel, axe, basically everything you desire. Electric, so it won't actually ever break, but it's fairly expensive to make. So, Triton gains. I have some of the stuff in diamond chest I brought with me. As you can see, I've got 5 stacks of ground, which I've started to turn into bricks for the smelter. We'll probably take a couple more episodes before we actually get all this produced, or onto it. We have the ender chest, we have a saddle, books, chests, food, basically everything I want there. We also, of course, got some metals, diamonds, and other useful stuff. We've got sag mill, capacitor bank, alloy smelter, basically a lot of useful stuff. I think that I'm really happy about getting is this thing right here. This is a pretty expensive piece of equipment, and one of the reasons why we actually went to the Triton base was to actually have a chance of getting this thing. This is a purification chamber. It's the 4th piece that I'm missing from my 3-piece setup in order to make 3 ingots from 1 ore. And of course, also the diamond and gold gears, along with the iron gears, will be really useful for when I want to build the quarry. We also got some vulcanite. This can be turned into blaze rods, so that is also useful. We also got apparently some steel, which I might as well just take. Mithril ori calcum. That comes from Twana Forest, could probably use that for something, but we won't right now. And of course we also got a lot of armor and magic stuff, so all in all it's a pretty useful raid. So first and foremost, we have gone over the Triton gains, a lot of useful stuff. Now for the ore processing times 3, we already have the purification chamber here, and as you can see, it's not cheap. You need an enrichment chamber to begin with, and even then you need that along with the 4 control circuits, 2 enriched alloy, and atomic cores. Now these things, as you can see, are 2 osmium and 2 obsidian dust with 4 enriched alloy and a diamond, so they're not cheap. Let's just say that, they're not cheap at all. Currently, however, we'll go ahead and place this thing where it's supposed to be. Basically place it there. I didn't go into configuration last time, but basically you set red to where you want it to input from, and you set it to blue if I wanted to eject. So basically, if this was operational, it would now take things from the block left to it. Basically, if I set a chest, it would accept input from that, or pipe, or whatever. And basically, it will, once it's done with the ore, it will turn it over to crusher so it can keep on working on that, so that's good. But we do need an electrolytic separator, because the purification chamber, it requires oxygen in order to work, and this is one of the few things that actually makes oxygen. So we're going to create a electrolytic core made by 2 osmium, gold dust, iron dust, osmium dust of course, and 5 enriched alloy. We only need 1 for the time being, so we're only going to make 1, and the rest of the stuff is actually fairly cheap to make. But we are going to need something else to do. This thing requires water to work, pure water. And we're going to actually get ourselves a pump here to, of course, pump that up. We need a steel casing. Boom. Simply done. And then we'll just piece this thing together. Steel casing, enriched alloy, osmium, and a bucket. Fairly easily. Now, I do also need a energy cube. And the reason for that is, first and foremost, we want to, power the pump. I could lay a cable through the wall of the house, but I don't really want to do that. So we're going to build a basic energy cube. Because I also need this thing for something else. We're going to need 2 of these. I should probably just have done the simple thing. Basically, these are tiny batteries, if you will. So they're really useful. Unfortunately, things that have durability you can't shift-click on because they will not. It just won't work. And I forgot the fact that I do indeed need a steel casing. So let's see here. There we go. Steel casing, 2 energy tablets. We download a couple of lapis and redstone. There we go. Energy cube. Might as well just get this thing charging while we're waiting. There we go. It will now charge from the from this thing right here. So I need to actually fire it up with some lava in order to actually keep it going. As you can see, I've actually made myself a drum and went down into the mines to, well, secure myself some resources here. We also do need an air tank. Oh, I have no idea if it's actually just called a tank. It's called an gas tank, my bad. And as you can see, it's fairly easy to make. 2 iron dust surrounded by osmium ingots. And there we go, we need 2. Because hydrogen will be, no, sorry, oxygen, sorry again, water will be divided into hydrogen and oxygen. And hydrogen will be useful for me later, so we want to save that up. Now lastly, we're going to make a atomic disassembler, which is a kind of a, apparently not 2 S's, my bad. There we go, atomic disassembler. And this thing is kind of expensive, but we'll make one of these. You do need a atomic core, can make some of those too. And do I have everything required? I think I do. So let's just get the core in there, let's get the battery, so to speak, 1 obsidian ingot. And we have, of course, these things, and boom, we have ourselves an atomic disassembler, which will basically take the work of the pixels. So we're just going to bounce it in here. Also have a music disc in here from the raid, and also some other stuff that was gained. Now the second reason why we want this, of course, is I can actually charge the atomic disassembler. It will hold 400,000 RF. But I'm a little bit unsure if I actually wanted to take everything. Yeah, I might as well. Let's see, what else do I actually require, or am I done? We have set up all process system, we have an electric separators, we have the air tank, we have basically done everything. Now it's just setting it up so that it'll actually work. Now basically there are ways to automate this, basically with pipes and stuff like that. I am also going to need a, let's face it, we're going to need piping from the pump into the electric separator. We're going to need a, I believe it's called a mechanical pipe. I think I can use fluid ducts as well. But I kind of want to just stick to mech for the time being. There we go, 2 steel and a bucket. So not the end of the world to make these, and I believe you get 8 of them. Yeah. So there we go, we have that prepared. We can now take this thing. And this thing is kind of a wonder, because as you can see, it has different modes. And it does a decent amount of damage, as proven. So basically it has a normal, slow, fast, and vein mode. The vein mode is what we'll probably be using the most. Vein basically allows you to take out the entire vein of, say, coal, diamonds, whatever really. And thus is released. This thing can also mine anything. I'm going to show you later how effective it is with a block of obsidian. Now, we're going to set up the pump, and we'd like to have it perfectly centered over the pool here so it doesn't actually dry it out. Water is a, well, ever-replenishing resource in theory, so we don't really want it to just, well, empty itself out. Now, I do need some piping here. I think I'm just actually going to plunk the electrolytic separator down here, because then I can, in theory, just prolong the cable to, yeah, we'll just plunk it down here, so, well, I'm actually just going to place the lava drum inside. I think it's probably easier that way. For the time being, you will just sit there. So yeah, we're going to set the electrolytic separator just there. We're going to put air tanks into it. And of course, the only thing it really requires now is power on its own, which we can get by basically doing a little bit of digging. Fortunately, that killed my door as well. That's fine. And I need to make the cables, which I can't actually remember how to do. I believe I did this, then this. Nope. This. There we go. Got myself some basic cable, and these are basically, if you want to make better cables in Mac, you'll have to work with these. But this thing is now, in theory, powered. It should be, at least. And I realized the house I built here is actually too small, so we'll have to deal with that later, but for now we should be fine. Let's just get the carpenter's doors up. The reason why I'm using carpenter's doors is actually really simple. Zombies, even in hardcore, will not be able to break these down, and as you can see, they open both sides. They're really easy to make. It's just wood, really. Now let us get our hands on the energy cube here, which is, well, not full. Not even close to full, but that's fine. So, go ahead and empty my water bucket here. And fill it up again, because let's face it, we do need quite a bit of power here. But the point here is you can basically just then smack this up so that it's the flat end there on the battery actually shows where it will take out. This thing is basically now have begun to pump water. It's taken into the electrolytic separator. The electrolytic separator is then producing oxygen, and as you can see, stored oxygen, stored hydrogen, which are then sent into the tanks. So the system is operational. I'm just going to show you here quickly how it actually works. As you can see, it have now filled up with oxygen, or as much as this can take. And what we basically do now is take an ore, for instance iron, and we just plonk it in there, and it will use those 200 oxygen to work through a single ore. So it's not really effective per se, especially with just one electrolytic separator. But there we go. It basically makes 3 iron clumps, which is then crushed up by the crusher to, well, make it a little bit finer, and then you get dirty iron dust, which is then turned by the enrichment chamber into regular iron dust, and then the NGI smelter deals with that. Now, there is a little bit of an interesting thing you can do with these things. You can actually add speed and energy upgrades to them. Basically, energy upgrades make them consume less power, and speed makes them go faster. We're going to probably do that later. But for the time being, we'll just leave things as they are. Especially with this pump, for instance. It's not really using a lot of power. I believe it uses 20 or so RFA at the this thing is actually not using any power right now because the thingamajig, or the electrolytic separator, isn't actually taking out or using the power, well, consuming the water quickly enough for that to happen. So we don't really have anything to worry about on just picking this up and putting it up a little bit more. But anyways, what we are going to do now is venture down into mines, and I'm just going to show you just how effective this thing is when you actually use it on fast setting. So I'll be right back. There we go, I'm down in the mines. This is basically where I started digging. As you can see, I did dig out quite a bit of an area. But I do have a bit of obsidian here that we're going to test on. This is the this thing on fast. It's not slow by any means on digging the obsidian. It's basically tearing right through it without any problems at all. So this thing is really, really effective if you are planning to dig out vast amounts of obsidian. I took 6 blocks during time. I would probably get a diamond pick to take 1. So yeah, this thing is really, really effective. Second, we have the vein mode here, and basically this thing will work. As you can see, it takes every block it's connected to. So if there is no connection between them, like in the corner there, they will not take it. It will also only take blocks from the vein that basically, if you mine an iron ore, it will only take iron, or if you mine redstone, it will only take redstone, and so forth. But it's a really effective tool when it comes to mining, and it should be really useful to you. Now, other than this, I don't think we'll have too much to do during this session. We'll probably set up some upgrades upgrade the battery a little bit. The reason why is that I won't have to basically set up a energy system with next to the quarry wherever we'll run it. Probably also go ahead and make some more diamond chests, because they're going to be useful, especially if I go on any raids or when I set up the quarry, for instance. But I think the basic idea now is to just set up a better power system and potentially either relocate the base or build it a little bit bigger, because I'll probably set up a secondary power plant a little bit away from this one, because the power plant I'm planning to use is a hydrogen plant, and they are pretty damn noisy. Basically, we're going to build more electrolytic separators, and we're going to use them to, well, produce hydrogen, which will then run through a hydrogen generator, and that will in turn be used for the sole purpose of, as I can see, this thing has barely used any power. But as I was saying, we'll use that to create power for a quarry or anything. We're basically going to be creating better energy cubes, which are going to be expensive, because they are. As you can see, in advance will require, as you see, more. We have this one requiring more, but we want to make at least 1 ultimate energy cube, which is atomic cores, obsidian ingots, and so forth. So the goal will be to make 1 of those. We'll be making hydrogen jennies. You can see here, hydrogen generator. And they're not expensive per se. The electrolytic course is a little bit on the annoying side, but with a all systems times 3 here and potential upgrades for next time, we should be able to make this work. The lava generator will also be really useful, but I'm a little bit unsure how long I can keep that a viable option. So we'll probably build a for the time being hydrogen setup down here because I don't want it to be too close because they are noisy as hell. So I'll get that prepared for the next episode, and we'll get some proper power, and we'll probably also set up a quarry. See how it goes. Bye.